Hello, everybody. Welcome to June's Jail Time interview. Today we're doing a one and done interview with our guest star, Shannon Sturgill. Hi, Shannon. How are you doing today?
Doing well.
That's good. Okay. So we're just going to jump right into it. My understanding is that you run an undercover operations all over the state of South Carolina. Can you elaborate on that for me?
I can. So basically what I do is I travel around the state of South Carolina and I set up undercover operations to where we have police officers who are online pretending like they're basically kids about 12 to 14 years of age so we can help pull out pedophiles.
That's very interesting. So how long does it take to prepare for these operations?
So it takes about 3 months. I usually do 4 a year. So I dedicate basically 3 months to each operation to prepare for it.
Okay, so how many people are usually involved in these operations?
So on the average, each operation, it takes about 65 to 75 people to actually execute an operation. We run it usually 4 or 5 nights in the course of a week, and we have about that 65 or 75 people each night.
Okay, so how many hours do you usually work during this operation?
So me by myself, I work about 80 hours. In total manpower, we have about 5,200 hours worth of manpower involved in it. So it's very extensive. We'll usually run from about 10 o'clock in the morning till sometimes 3, 4 o'clock in the next morning, into the next morning.
Wow, that's actually, I sleep a lot. So personally, I could never, but. Okay, so what is your process for actually setting up for these operations?
So these operations actually include a lot of federal and local and state level law enforcement. We actually work very closely with the United States Secret Service, the Department of Homeland Security Investigations, the Federal Bureau of Investigations, and the U.S. Marshals, along with sometimes we'll work with SLED, the State Law Enforcement Division. We also work, myself being out of the Attorney General's office, I have folks that come from my office that also assist. And then we also work with local offices like sheriff's offices and municipalities, local police departments. To set one of these operations up, we have to identify a location that we're going to meet our bad guy, our pedophile, if you will. We also have to have somewhere for them to go to that we can do surveillance on prior to. It also entails having a very large place to house all these people because we have usually what we call chatters, the people who are online pretending to be children. We usually have about 13 or 14 folks doing that all at one time. So we need somewhere to put them. We also have people who do polygraphs, interviews. I have surveillance teams that are both around the house and on the roads. We've used helicopters and airplanes in the past. We've used drones most recently in an operation we actually just did a couple weeks ago. So there's a lot of coordinating all that effort and all that manpower, along with we actually feed them twice a day because we're there for so long, so we actually feed them lunch and dinner. So there's getting that coordinated as well.
Okay, so when you say pretending to be children, what goes into that?
So I actually have traveled now across the United States teaching law enforcement officers how to go online into different applications and different places where kids hang out. Like right now, a lot of the kids, probably your age, they have Instagram, they have Snapchat. A few are starting to expand into Twitter. Just different places like that where children are. We actually go into those same applications as if we were children the same age. We have profiles set up. We have pictures that are basically, they're doctored. I actually do that too. It's called regression, where I actually take adults and make them look like children. So then that way we look like a real child. And our job is basically to go into these places on the internet and try to get the attention of people who are normally preying on real children.
Okay, that's actually really interesting. So we're going to switch gears a little bit. So I know that you used to work for the Aiken County Police Station. Is that true?
Yep, it was Aiken County Sheriff's Office, I did.
What did you do while you were there?
So I actually started my law enforcement career there. I originally was what they could just consider a road deputy. I responded to calls for service. If you called 911, I was the one who showed up at your house. I was promoted to a sergeant's position basically I was a supervisor over about 12 or 13 deputies per shift. I was then promoted to what is called our Special Victims Unit, where I investigated crimes that involved juveniles, minors, if you will, vulnerable adults, basically anything that was considered a special victim, not necessarily your house break-ins. I didn't do anything like that. The house break-ins, car break-ins, that wasn't what I specialized in. I specialized in basically sex crimes and such things like that. Once I left there, that's when I went with the Attorney General's office to start doing what's called ICAC, Internet Crimes Against Children, which is what I do presently.
Okay, this is my last question. What is your favorite story to tell people about what you do?
Probably my favorite story, more so because of the outcome of it, is I did about a 1.5 year long investigation into a sex trafficking ring, and we rescued quite a few very young ladies from that sex trafficking ring. One lady in particular, I still kind of keep in contact with. The day I basically met her and quote unquote rescued her, I guess, from that particular ring, she was strung out on heroin. She was in really bad shape. She hadn't eaten in a few days. We took her in, kind of took care of her. We got her fed. We got into her shelter. We were able to get her help. She spent about a year in different programs like rehabs, career centers. She had not seen her kids in several years, and as of today, she has been doing a lot better. She has a career, she has her own home, she's actually gotten married, she's back with her children, and has actually had another kid. So that's a huge success story, and probably one of my favorite stories to see somebody who has been able to have the opportunity to get out of that kind of situation and get better.
That's actually really great. So that was my last question. Do you have anything else you'd like to say?
I appreciate it. For anybody who might be listening to this that's, not an adult, or even for the adults, be careful what you're doing online. Don't send anything out that you might not want anybody in the rest of the world to see, because it might be actually me who sees it. So just be safe on the internet.
Okay, well, thanks for tuning in, everyone. This has been June's Jail Time interview.